Papa Doc, Dr. Francois Duvalier, spiritual leader and president for life. His years of absolute power have brought terror to his people, ruin to his country, and the inescapable threat: whoever destroys Duvalier destroys Haiti. Papa Doc's rarely seen in these streets of his capital, but today he's expected to show himself to the people of this dark land where a white face is unexpected, distrusted, hated, where it seems he needs adequate protection, even if he's only inaugurating a new building a few hundred yards from the presidential palace. This'll be the event of the year for poor Haiti, which has less to celebrate than any nation on earth, for it must survive the guns of the Tonton Macoute, Papa Doc's bogeymen, a murderous bunch of official thugs who live by extortion, by leaning upon their terrified countrymen, by spying. When their clever president came to power in 1957, he'd observed dictators were always overthrown by their armies. So he overthrew his, demoted it to less warlike duties, and recruited civilian volunteers. Here comes his seat of power. Waiting for its occupant, everyone's nervous, even the dreaded Tonton. Papa Doc has this nation by the throat. Everyone's armed, except the army. Haiti saw 69 revolutions in 50 years and stands always braced for invasion, assassination, death. In this black republic, to live means to be ready, to be on guard, to be suspicious. And always, always, to honor the president. Emerging at last from his bulletproof Mercedes, closely following his personal machine gun, Papa Doc. How does this insignificant little man with halting speech and halting walk, how does he inspire such fear? Perhaps because he kills ruthlessly and with indifference. Because his nationalized hoodlums hold their guns high and are free to tax and torment. In the center of such menace, an elegant Creole, Madame Simon Duvalier, who married a selfless, unknown country doctor, but today finds herself beside a significant tyrant. Papa Doc carelessly terrorizes his countrymen and turns his back on foreigners, indifferent to world opinion. After that silly spy trial, David Knox was sentenced to death, the United States ambassador was expelled, and the Catholic Archbishop of Haiti was banished. His Grace was dragged from his bed by Tonton and not even allowed to collect his false teeth before deportation. When Tonton began demanding money from foreigners, the British ambassador complained, so he was thrown out and the embassy closed. Revolutionary bombs still explode in Port-au-Prince, though the wonder is there's anyone left to criticize, let alone attack. For this little man's believed to have executed 2,000 Haitians, and has certainly driven 30,000 into exile, and the rest into terrified silence. All Haiti lives under the threat of his Tonton, his bagmen, his executioners. To provoke these overarmed bully boys is to invite a beating or death, for each nationalized hoodlum is armed, each licensed to kill. A missing Haitian would be unimportant and unnoticed, but a foreigner's arrest or death can be ordered only by the president, whose public holiday's now over. though it seemed more like a sharpshooter's convention. It was all to open a building for, the irony of it, for the Red Cross. He leaves to return to his palace, well bulletproofed, and closely followed by that symbol of authority, the Mace of Haiti, his personal submachine gun. His Haiti shares the Caribbean island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic. A 90-minute flight from Miami, only 50 miles from Cuba. This first Negro state is tropical, mountainous, and twice the size of Yorkshire. Once it was France's richest colony, and today 5 million Haitians live lives little changed since those slave days 2 centuries ago. An artistic people, Haitian paintings are primitive Lowries, though 9 out of 10 of them are illiterate. Their economy is in a state of collapse. Haiti, desperately overpopulated, lurches through life, finance in chaos, foreign trade stagnant, public works decaying, no passable roads outside the picturesque poverty of Port-au-Prince. The government so corrupt that all trade not offering a rake-off is at a standstill. But fortunately, in a neglected countryside, coffee still grows half wild. Port-au-Prince has the remnants of style. It's graced by Victorian gingerbread architecture. With dusty, crumbling elegance, with curlicues and excrescences and peeling paintwork, it's a tatty, charming backdrop to the primitive capital of the poorest country in the world. A tropical outburst of bougainvillea, a steam-heated over-ripeness, the sick, sweet stench of a lush and rotting land. Haiti is not really in touch with the outside world. Everything breaks down here. Power failures are regular and awaited, all the city's lights go out, the few telephones rarely work, and it's not hard to see why. But for all its miseries, Haiti has a particular flavor. Its public transport, at least, is full of character. The president before last, President Estime, passed a law requiring all peasants to wear shoes in town. But in the green mountains of a countryside which speaks of the 18th century, shoes are an unthinkable luxury. They lack the most simple implements. They have no ploughs, no wheelbarrows. The land is worn out and crop rotation unknown. They live next to starvation. The women are perhaps the most appealing of the Caribbean. They're docile, graceful, and, it's said, like panthers dreaming. But no Haitian dreamer is beyond the voice of authority from the palace grounds. Those who live by fear live fearfully. Duvalier, who trusts no one, has turned his palace into a fortress containing presidential guard, Tonton, and his disarmed and anxious army. Once it had 6,000 generals. Now they jump to Papa Doc's tune, The Top Ranks Come. I've just heard the most eerie story, which does, to a degree, illustrate the complete unpredictability of President Duvalier. And it may be caused, I've heard it said, because he is a diabetic and therefore subject to extreme fluctuations in mood. Anyhow, the other day, he was on the telephone himself to a local airline to inquire about a certain flight. He spoke not to the airline official, but to a young Haitian who worked in the office. And he found this boy so helpful that he inquired, and there's no doubt about it, Papa Doc is a most courteous man. May I know to whom I'm speaking, he said. And the boy said, my name, Excellence, is Dupont, let's say. And the president said, Dupont, Dupont, does that name mean something to me? And the boy hesitated and then said, Excellence, I am the son of Major Dupont of the Presidential Guard who disappeared 11 years ago. It was, incidentally, exactly 11 years ago that Dr. Francois Duvalier was elected president. And Papa Doc said, yes, I remember. Well, thank you so much for your help. I'm so pleased to hear that you've got a good job with a foreign company and that you're doing well. Thank you very much. Put the receiver down. That was that. Except the next morning, Major Dupont returned home. For 11 years, he had been a prisoner in one of Papa Doc's jails. And all one can assume is that, having put the receiver down, the president said, incidentally, what happened to Major Dupont? Did we shoot him? No, Excellence. He was sent to prison. Release him. Crouching behind his tanks in his fortress, the palace Haitian exiles tried to bomb before one of their abortive invasions, the palace many fear to enter, Papa Doc receives no one for months. His own ministers seldom see him, which may be why he's often reported dying or dead. But from such seclusion, he has agreed to see me. So now to try and find out, what sort of man is this, who can inspire such terror?
The civilian only can rule the country, not the military man. The military man has to stay in his barracks and receive order and instruction from the president and from the king, from the emperor. This is my opinion, this is my philosophy. To have peace and stability, you should have a strong man in every country. Not a dictator, but a strong man.
Not a dictator.
Not a dictator, but a strong man. Democracy is a word. It's only a word. It's a philosophy. It's a conception. What you call democracy in your own country, another country can call that a dictatorship.
You have, I believe, described yourself as the founder of the Black Power movement.
Oh, no. No. What Black Power movement? Black Power movement is in the States. It's for the States.
Yes.
But the Negroes living in the States. I said that I want to get for Haiti the leadership of the Negro or the black world, because we have been the first to become independent with our guns against white people, against French people, and we got it in 1804.